City Attorney, do we have any reportable action from our closed session?
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, there was no reportable action taken in closed session.
Okay, so we'll adjourn from closed session now and go into our regular meeting. Okay. Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the joint meeting of the City Council of the City of Moreno Valley, Moreno Valley Community Service District, City as successor agency for the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Moreno Valley, Moreno Valley Housing Authority, Moreno Valley Public Financing Authority, and the Board of Library Trustees. The City Council receives a separate stipend for CSD meetings. I now call this meeting to order on May 4th at 6:04 p.m. Roll call, please.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Marquez.
Here.
Councilmember Cabrera.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Baca.
Here. Staff introductions, please.
Let the record reflect Mayor Gutierrez is absent. Pat Jaques Nares, City Clerk.
Steve Quintanilla, Interim City Attorney.
Mike Lee, City Manager.
Brian Mohan, Acting Assistant City Manager, Chief Financial Officer, City Treasurer.
Michael Wolf, Assistant City Manager, Director of Public Works, City Engineer.
Manuel Mancha, Community Development Director.
Patty Solano, Parks and Community Services Director.
John Salisbury, Chief of Police.
Abdul Ahmed, Fire Chief.
Okay, are we done with roll call?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, City Clerk. So before we hear public comments this evening, I ask and encourage everyone participating to keep their comments respectful towards others, especially toward the individual speaking. I embrace and support the First Amendment, right to free speech, including everyone's right to speak at this meeting and share his or her views about issues concerning our city. But we can accomplish more as a city and as private citizens by being civil and respectful toward one another in this meeting. Finally, I ask that speakers bear in mind that they should refrain from duplicating comments already made by others, other than to note that they agree with the comment or disagree. Those wishing to speak on any subject on the agenda and not on the agenda under the jurisdiction of the City Council may speak now. In order to preserve the meeting decorum, Council and staff will not respond during public comments. Any council comments or questions to staff will be addressed during the council closing comments. Any person wishing to address myself and the City Council on any matter, either under the public comment section of the agenda or scheduled items or public hearings, must follow the teleconference procedures and wait to be identified to speak by me. Members of the public may be limited to 3 minutes per person on the allowed time set by me, except for the applicant. I may establish an overall time limit for comments on their particular agenda item. Members of the public must direct their questions to myself and not to other members of the City Council, the applicant and staff, or the audience. And there will be a total of 3 minutes for public speakers. City Clerk, do we have any public speakers today?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem. We have 5 that signed up. The first one is not in the queue. The name is Edward Jones, followed by Brandon Karn and Luis Palomares. So, Mr. Karn.
Mr. Karn?
Oh, were you trying to call me? Sorry, my Zoom went out for a second. I wanted to note on the settlement that was just recently reached with Highland Fairview. I thought it was really interesting because number one, the city has been saying for years that those documents were impervious, but they just agreed to the settlement for $40 million, obviously agreeing that those documents are not impervious for many, many years. Thank you. And another thing, my criticism back to renaming Theodore Street to World Logistics Center Parkway with taxpayer funds, if they had $40 million to reach a settlement, why was the city and the taxpayers paying for that? That could have been a private developer or them paying for that, not the taxpayers. That money could have gone elsewhere. Whether the litigation was there or not, I never have believed the World Logistics Center was going to be built because I've been saying this since 2015. Mr. Benzivi has been part of the Moreno Valley community since the mid 80s. A precursor to Highland Fairview, he had a company called Benzivi Cohan Corp. And in the mid 80s purchased the acreage east of Redlands Boulevard, that almost 2,000 acres. And in the 80s, they were promising to build what's called the Moreno International Trade Center, which was going to be an airport and a cargo and aerospace facility. Never got past FAA approval. Promised 30 to 50,000 jobs. That company dissolved around 1992. Then succeeding him on that same land where the World Logistics Center was promised was the Moreno Highlands specific plan. Again, promised 20 to 30,000 jobs, thousands in units of housing. Never got built, never got started. 2012, that expired. It is true that they did incorporate Highland Fairview in 2004, new partners. And they did purchase some land near the county hospital, and there's still signs up for Aquabella, the proposal that it was bought for. Never was built. Promised in 2011 to build a medical center, which never happened. That's in a city YouTube video, actually, still, if you look for it on their channel. And all of these things I'm talking about are all in city, public records from the Economic Development Office, all records in City Hall that I've acquired since the 80s and 90s from other people, all showing this. This is a company and partners that have been here almost 40 years that built little to nothing. Mr. Benzivi incorporated HCCA, 8 healthcare conglomerate associates in 2013 to redevelop a hospital in Tulare County, the one concerned with the indictment I bring up week after week about his younger brother. Never finished that hospital, had various proposals for Banning's Airport 2013, made another proposal for San Bernardino's Airport for a logistics facility in the 90s, is right now trying to purchase land with Highland Fairview near the Salton Sea for another cargo facility they're calling the Inland Port, promising 20 to 30,000 jobs. In all this time, there is literally nothing built except the Skechers building, which is a joint venture. It's co-owned by Skechers. And in fact, the development impact money you're receiving from HF Logistics, SKX, stands for Skechers because it's a joint venture company for those two buildings. So you're really wasting our money promoting this, spending it on infrastructure that could be used elsewhere. And I really have had no faith that this company is going to go for it.
Luis Palomares, followed by Bob Palomares, and the last speaker is Tom Gerald. Luis? Star 6 to unmute, Luis. Luis, star 6 to unmute.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Hello?
We can hear you now.
Okay, I've been trying to unmute myself, but it won't happen. But anyway, saying all that, wow, I don't know what the Brandon Carr's talking about again. He's got all this propaganda going on, all this development. They said they were, they didn't. I mean, why do you want to go through all of this and not build anything? Come on. When they're building houses, Ito was building houses. So I don't know what he's talking about. Him and his salt and seed deals. He's just full of propaganda and full of lies. I don't know why developers will go through all this trouble just not to build anything. We've been tied up in the courts forever with all of this. And hopefully all these seats are being settled, and there's one left, I think. Hopefully that'll be settled soon. And it's all about a month. It's all about a dollar. It's all about money. And that's what it's all about with all these haters in Moreno Valley. So I don't know where he gets off with all his lies and his propaganda. And he says, well, the city has all this information and you can look for it and you can get it. What old information? We don't know if it's factual or true, anything he's saying. I don't believe anything that comes out of that liar's mouth. I guess he don't got a lie, so he has to go on and on about all this stuff about Ito, Benzivi, salted seas, stuff they were to build, stuff they weren't going to build. Well, I don't know why Ito would go through so much trouble. What's in it for him? What's in it for him? What he wants is jobs here for the people. And, well, he's a businessman, and that's okay. So why would he go through all this trouble in the courts and everything else fighting all these people just to, just for the hell of it? I don't think so. I don't know where this Brandon car gets off, but he's got all his wires twisted up as far as I'm concerned. And he sends out all this propaganda and all these lies, and people believe these lies. They really honestly believe it. They have to hear the other side, but they're only hearing his one side of the story. And, people buy that. I'm talking to people in the community sometimes and saying, what's going on with this? I have to set the record straight because people believe this stuff. Instead of saying something good and positive about our city and how great it's doing, and the budget is great. We haven't been in the red forever, even through the pandemic. All he chooses to talk about is gloom and doom. Why does he live here? I don't get it. And all his other pals, they're in it for the lawsuit to get $1 out of it. He might be getting a kickback for all we know. But saying all that, and so what if they name the street over the end of infrastructure? We're using it, we're driving on it, ain't we? I drive out there all the time. I use those roads when I can all the time. I'm sure he's driven on some of those roads. So what the hell is he talking about? Grow up, get a life, Brandon Carr. There's a lot of great things that are going on in our city, and I'm so proud of being a resident here in this city. A lot of great things, and I know they did a ribbon cutting over here for the unemployment.
Next speaker, Bob Palomares, followed by Tom Gerald. Bob?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Anyway, first of all, I just have to start by, thanking our police and fire for the great work that they always do. Thank Chief Salisbury and Chief Ahmad. Thank you very much. And what I wanted to talk about was to congratulate Highland Fairview on the recent update on the WLC and the people of Moreno Valley. It's been a long time. Unnecessary delays costing the city thousands of dollars in revenue and a great number of jobs also, all because of green mail. But that's just the way it is. It's water under the bridge. We'll just keep going. And I heard the comment about Mr. Benzivi. And, one time I went to this meeting and there was someone speaking about Ito Benzivi. And I told him, hey, Mr. Benzivi, he talks it, but he also walks it. I said, what do? You haven't done nothing. All you do is anybody can criticize. And I shut him up. But, Mr. Benzivi's always been behind the community, supporting them. Even through this pandemic, he's been doing a lot, helping people out. And I just want to say one more thing that, the city can be proud of the mayor and Mayor Pro Tem and the staff for being financially responsible with no shortages on city services. That's great city management. Thank you very much.
Tom Gerald is the last speaker. Mr. Gerald?
Good evening. Am I transmitting okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem, council members, and Mayor, I hope you're feeling better or whatever, pulled you away from the meeting and everything is okay. Members of the staff and the public, well, of course, everybody's listening in on the Zoom or maybe on MVT TV. So thank you for the opportunity to speak here, and ongoing kudos to our police and fire, especially we're coming into fire season, and it can be very harrowing. So I just want to thank both of them for a job well done, and always give kudos for our graffiti abatement, great crew there, and keep our city looking nice there, and I appreciate it. And also I took note that the Caltrans people were out cleaning up the 60, doing a really nice job. Looks like they're getting some of the overgrowth and probably prevent a lot of the dumping and camping and things like that, which aren't very unsafe and it's unsightly. So anyhow, I'll thank them. I very happy that they're making progress on these litigations with the WLC. And I was trying to calculate out how long it's been since they've been approved, but it's something like 8 years, maybe longer. But long story short, the first night of the hearings at the big rec center building, I saw a group of people all wearing suits sitting together, about 5 or 6 of them, ladies and gentlemen. And I thought, are these attorneys here to kind of check things out? But so I went over and started talking to them. Turns out they were from a very, very big 5-star brokerage firm there, commercial brokerage firm. And so I talked to them. And so I said, well, since you're in the business, what do you think the viability of this project is should it get approved? And let me tell you, they were they said, man, we wish it was approved tonight because we'll be leasing this tomorrow. So my question is, had there been no litigation on this project and had it gone forward, I bet it'd be 30, 40%, contracted, built out. And just do the math on the amount of tax revenue, the construction infusion, the fees paid to the city, I call it benefits, the jobs created, local people working here, as well as the image builder. I get a lot of compliments. I don't know if Mr. Carnes has a visual problem, but I see about almost 3 million square feet standing out already up there. That's a lot of building. I don't know if he's ever built anything, but that's not a tinker toy out there. And that's just one project or one client. That's the Skechers people. So I can only imagine, if we get this thing rolling, the benefits it could bring as far as future, as I said, jobs, tax revenues, fee income.
No more speakers, Mayor Pro Tem?
Okay, thank you to everybody that came out tonight to speak. Appreciate your involvement with the city. Would any of the council members like to make their reports and comments at this time?
No, Madam Pro Tem.
Okay, so we're now going to move to our joint consent calendar, sections A through E on the agenda. All items listed under the consent calendar, sections A, B, C, D, and D are considered to be routine and non-controversial and may be enacted by one motion unless a member of the City Council, Community Service District, City SSX or agency, or the Community Redevelopment Agency, Housing Authority, the Board of Library Trustees, or the Public Financing Authority requests that an item be removed for separate action. The motion to adopt the consent calendar is deemed to be a separate motion for each agency and shall be so recorded by the city clerk. Items withdrawn for report or discussion will be heard after public hearing items. Councilmember Marquez and Cabrera, would you like to pull anything from the consent calendar?
Yes, Madam Pro Tem. A9 for a couple of questions.
I'm sorry, what was that?
A9, Adam.
A9?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And I have comments for items A9 and items A10.
Okay, let's do A9 first.
I guess I go first. Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. I got some concerns about this project we have to widen Marina Beach Drive overpass. I don't know who would be the person to answer these questions, so I'll let the staff answer them, who they pick. First question, a Nason Bridge cost, total cost when we did Nason, how much did that cost the city? When I say cost the city, it cost the whole project from start to finish. What was the bottom line? Can someone answer that question, please?
Good afternoon, Councilmember Marquez, Mayor Pro Tem Baca, and Councilmember Cabrera. I can take that question for you. So the staff report that I pulled for 2012 for the Nason Interchange project shows a $16 million cost associated with just the hard construction. So that's construction, that's the administrative services, so architectural, geotechnical, mutual test and inspection. That does not include the design work I don't have that number, but the hard construction cost was 16 million.
Okay. And on your staff report, Mike, and I guess I'll address these to you. You had indicated that on the bid, the lowest bid was 24.5. It was 2.2 million over our estimate cost. Where do we get that cost from? The city's estimate cost from?
So we have a design consultant that helps us out with the design, and they also include a engineer's estimate. So we got that from our design consultant.
Okay, and I understand, and I read the report. It says the total work for Merino Beach interchange is $30 million. That's quite a bit compared to what we pay for Mason. Is that design? And this is for the public to know also. Is this design exactly or close to being what Mason was?
So the bridge itself is the same type of structural design. The Nason Bridge project was just the bridge. It didn't include any of the ramps or an auxiliary lane or storm drain work. So the Merino Beach project that we're talking about tonight includes not only the bridge, it's a 7-lane bridge where Nason's a 5-lane bridge. So the Merino Beach Drive interchange is a 7-lane bridge, so it's wider. It also includes 3 new ramps on the north side. It also includes a new auxiliary lane, so when you're getting on the freeway. And it also includes the storm drain work up on Ironwood, which is line K1. So there's a big difference in scope of work between tonight's project and the Nason Bridge project.
And Mr. Wolf, the additional monies, where's that coming from?
So this is fully funded by about 4 different funding sources in general. The bulk of the funding for this project is coming from the state. It's a grant, Transportation Corridor Enhancement Program grant, about 17 million. About 11 million is coming from the TUMP program, so the regional, or the WRCOG Transportation Uniform Mitigation Fee. We also have some funding from FEMA for the storm drain work, so we got a grant from FEMA. And then to round it out, we have some developer impact fees for interchanges. So that's the bulk of the money for this project.
And nothing's coming out of the general funds?
That's correct.
That we foresee, correct? So one more question, and it's very concerning. On your contingencies, you have 10%, which is the normal across the board for any construction, large or small. I understand that. And I understand why there's that contingency for runovers, extra work, or unforeseen projects, diversions. Why are we going with the 20% when we have 10 for the CHP, we have 10 for the consultants and 10 for the design? Why are we going 20 for, I'm assuming this would be for the construction, Spectrum Construction Group or Spectrum Construction Group, the 20%. Why is it that high, 20%?
So the staff report shows a 10% contingency for Spectrum. So the 20% that you're referencing is actually just for 2 contracts. It's a geotechnical and material testing inspection, and it's for the surveying. So we are using the 10% contingency for construction. The reason why we're recommending as a staff for the 20% on those 2 sort of soft costs, if you will, geotechnical and surveying, is we don't dictate the means and methods for the contractor. So if they come out and they want to do build the bridges in phases, we have to be able to adapt to them in terms of the surveying work. So it's a very complex project, a lot of civil work that's required. So we want to make sure we don't delay the contractor. So every time we delay the contractor, we potentially have a delay claim come into the city. So that 20% is really on 2 contracts. I think the total of those 2 contracts is about $300,000. So the contingency on that is about $73,000, sorry. And which is about less than 1/2 of 1% of the total construction cost. So we want to make sure we have that ability to address those real-time situations so we don't delay the contractor. So we're only asking for 20% of those 2 material testing, inspection, and surveying contracts.
Okay. And one more final question. What is the traffic going to be? Where's it going to be diverted to when this construction starts? Because we're going to have to close off the on-ramps and off-ramps. What are we looking at, alternate routes for this project? It's not gonna be a year, looks like maybe a year and a half, 2-year project. So what are we looking at alternate routes?
So yeah, the total construction is about 18 months. Not all of that requires detours. So we do have a very extensive detour plan. In fact, it was part of our environmental document that went through the review process. So there's a lot of different phases. So I can't specifically state that it's only going to be this detour. But when we do close the bridge, we have alternate routes on Ironwood and south of the freeway. And then as we go in different routes, when we do the on-ramps, then we have a couple more detours. But the detour plan is complete in our environmental and technical documents. It's also in our plans and specifications, so our contractor is well aware of that. We do have an outreach firm or our construction management firm that will be making sure there are phone numbers available, that there are flyers, that we're advertising all the detours. So we'll be very, very, in terms of outreach, we'll have a lot of outreach associated with that. But I don't have the specific answer to your question because it's multiple different detours that are associated with the construction.
Yeah, I'm concerned because all the businesses in that area too, it's going to affect them. I just want to say to the public, be patient. Once this project starts, it's not going to be an overnight project. Have the patience. That's all I can ask you, and we'll get done, and it'll look like Mason, which we desperately need out there right now on that part of the freeway. Thank you, Mike, and Mayor Pro Tem. That's all I have. Thank you.
Councilman Cabrera, you also have questions on A9?
Thank you so much. So more so comments, but I think Councilman Marquez pretty much, he asked most of the questions, so that's very helpful. But in terms of the estimated time of completion, I think you mentioned it's about 18 months. So are we looking at about springtime 2023 or so?
We're estimating early 2020, 2023. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so like I said, I don't really have any further questions. I think this has been a long time in the making, and it's going to be very, very helpful for the transportation and the logistics of the freeway and all the traffic that goes through that area, the businesses. It's going to be extremely helpful to in various aspects, on top of helping to improve the aesthetics of the city, beautify the city, make us look even better. We're going to get another very nice interchange. So that's all I have. And I'll just reiterate what Councilmember Marquez said, just for the residents to be patient, because construction can, be very taxing, especially when you have to take all these detours and, so I think just hang on there, with us as we go through the process, and it'll be worth it in the end. So thank you so much.
Councilman Cabrera, you can continue to A10.
On 810, again, more so just comments. This is pretty routine. We've done this for the past several years now because of the SB1 funding. So 810 is essentially a list that we send to the state, letting them know these are the roads in the city of Moreno Valley that we're going to spend our SB1 dollars on, whether that's, repavement, rehabilitation, maintenance, things like that. So it's just something that I wanted to put a spotlight on to make sure that we just make it clear that we're still getting funding, even though it's not as much as we need or as much as we would like, because there's so many roads to be fixed in the city. But we're getting another chunk, this upcoming fiscal year. And I know that Michael Wolf and the entire team there at City Hall does the best they can to maximize the dollars that we do get so that we can fix as many roads as possible. So that's all I wanted to share, and I look forward to that next phase of road repairs. Thank you.
Thank you both. Can we get a motion in a second, please? For the consent calendar?
I move.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilman Marquez and a second from Councilman Cabrera. Roll call, please.
Yes. Councilmember Marquez?
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baca?
Yes.
Motion passes 3 ayes.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to our public hearings. Item F1, public hearing to approve annual action plan, HUD grants, report of finance and management services.
Honorable Mayor Pro Tem, council members, the item before you tonight is the final step in the approval of the annual action plan for the Department of Housing and Urban Development grant submittal. This item is the final public hearing to review and finalize the annual action plan. This plan identifies how the program funds will be utilized to provide programs and projects that benefit low and moderate income households and neighborhoods in the city, and serves as the city's official grant application to HUD. I'm going to go ahead and skip over all of the whole report since it is attached to the staff report and details the funding allocations for each program, which were presented to the Finance Subcommittee in March and the full council last month. This concludes my presentation, but I'm available for any questions you may have before opening the public hearing.
Okay, any questions from the council for staff?
No.
Okay. Okay, so I'm now gonna open up the hearing. Public's testimony. Are there any speakers, City Clerk?
None.
Okay. So I'm gonna close the hearing. And is there any council deliberation?
No.
I have no deliberation, Mayor Pro Tem, but I'll make a motion to approve this item.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Yes. Councilmember Marquez,
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baca.
Yes.
Motion passes 3 ayes. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, now we move on to item F2, adoption of the fiscal year 2021-2022 budget. We're gonna conduct a public hearing.
Mayor Pro Tem, if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and share my screen now and have a short presentation. So you should see a PowerPoint presentation at this point on your screens.
We do, thank you.
Wonderful. Honorable Mayor Pro Tem, council members, the item before you tonight is seeking your approval to adopt the proposed fiscal year 21-22 and 22-23 budget. Our city is proud of its award-winning budget and financial management procedures and conservative, responsible fiscal safeguards. In this budget process, we continue to work towards spending funds to maintain our local quality of life, such as public safety, pavement and roads, maintaining safe and clean streets and parks, and youth programs. The general fund has been structurally balanced for the past 8 years now, and this proposed budget is as well. The Momentum Oval strategic plan continues to be the building block of developing the budget. Staff continues to examine new cost savings and potential efficiencies and additional revenue sources. While we have made many budget highlights listed in the staff report, I will only concentrate on a few of them in the next few slides. Police and fire make up 62% of the general fund budget. The police and fire contract rates are proposed to increase at 7.5% and 5% respectively, which is approximately $4 million each year. Based on these expense trends, it is very important the city control the cost in all of the other departments. Overall, the general fund is proposed to be balanced for both fiscal years. With council's approval of the cannabis community benefit fee in December, I included $300,000 budget in the Moreno Valley Community Foundation Fund, saving the general fund this amount. Through significant cost reductions and better than expected revenue trends during the pandemic, the city is able to absorb the additional public safety costs of $4 million and have an additional funding of $1.6 million in each proposed budget year for street maintenance. Key items is to reinvest as many dollars as possible. As revenues go up or down, city staff is responsive to come back to council on a quarterly basis to make adjustments accordingly. There are no increases to the number of positions on the control roster, just some minor reclassifications, saving the city $43,000. These trends build the long-range projection. While expenses may outpace revenues, economic development will be key to balancing the budget in future years. This particular visual of the long-range business projection shows that economic development bridges the budgetary gap. As this dotted line shows, revenue without economic development growth in the future. With your approval, this will adopt the proposed budget and provide the Chief Financial Officer the authority to consolidate the capital improvement plan once approved in order to finalize the adopted budget book for final distribution later in June or July of this year. The CIP is planned to be presented to Council no later than June 30th, 2021. This concludes my presentation, but I am available for any questions you may have prior to opening the public hearing.
Does the council have any questions for staff? Councilman Cabrera, Councilman Marquez?
I
Not
do
at this
have
time?
some questions.
You do?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Brian, thanks for the presentation. So a question about the financing for public safety. If you don't mind, maybe it might help to put the presentation back up and go back to the slides where we looked at the increases over time for public safety, for police and fire. Just want to take a quick look at that. You mentioned that we're looking at a 7.5% increase for police and a 5% increase for fire for this upcoming fiscal year. So that's what I wanted to see there. The year is going all the way back to 2011, 2012, and just to kind of be able to compare and see the visually, historically how much the city has been paying. And so, that 7.5% is a substantial amount of money. And I mean, there's no question that we want to, continue to make the city safer, and we're doing that. So I just want to make sure that we continue to communicate with Sheriff Bianco and make sure that their needs as a sheriff's department are addressed, as well as the city's needs for public safety. So I think all of our officers, all of our fire personnel are doing an absolutely amazing job. We get the logs, and it looks like the calls for service have decreased, and response times have improved as well, which is all good. I just want to make sure we keep a close eye on those rate increases every year. So I think I kind of answered the question there, but I just wanted to go back and take a look at that. Thank you.
And Councilmember, we do. All the contract cities do meet regularly to discuss the increases along with county sheriff. And we do have a common goal to try and keep those rates as low as possible. But unfortunately, they are being passed through from county sheriff.
Thank you, Brian.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Mayor Pro Tem, I do have a question real quick.
Go ahead, Councilman Marquez.
Yeah, we keep bringing up about the sheriff. The sheriff does, my understanding, and Chief Salisbury, you can pitch in if you need to. He doesn't make the cost. He's not the one who sets the cost, maybe through operational, but that comes from the county supervisors, and it also comes from the unions. Is that correct, Chief Salisbury?
Okay, you could direct the questions to Brian.
Here, folks. Yes, so the final rate as in any increases are already approved by the Board of Supervisors. So we do have a little bit of a lag time in those in some instances, but you're absolutely right. The rate and those increases are set by our Board of Supervisors.
Okay. And Brian, when you say that all contract cities discuss this with the sheriff's department, we're the largest in the county. Do we have how do I want to put it? Do we sit up at the front of the class when we discuss these options or these increases?
Yes, we do. And also, we do have a public safety contract administrator that administrates these particular contracts and is highly focused on these particular rates and in discussing this with the Board of Supervisors as well as the County Sheriff's Department. So yes, we do have a a seat at the front of the table.
And we do have, or they, the sheriffs, have a union representation there also?
Yes, there are union issues that do play into the contracts. And so we do monitor those as well.
Okay. That's all I have, Madam Pro Tem. Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to open up the hearing. Is there any public testimony, Madam Clerk?
None.
And okay, so I'm going to close the hearing and council deliberations, if desired. Councilman Cabrera and Councilman Marquez, do you have anything else?
No, I just moved.
Okay, so you're going to move. Second, okay. Roll call, please.
Yes.
And this is for staff's recommendations numbers 1 through 3.
Councilmember Marquez,
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baca.
Yes.
Motion passes, 3 ayes. Thank you.
Okay, and now I'm going to entertain a motion by the CSD to approve staff's recommendations numbers 1 and 2.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Councilman Marquez. Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Marquez,
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baca.
Yes.
Motion passes, 3 ayes.
I entertain a motion by the Housing Authority to approve staff's recommendation number 1.
I'll move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Marquez,
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baca.
Yes.
Motion passes, 3 ayes.
I entertain a motion by the successor agency to
Second.
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baca.
yes.
Motion passes, 3 ayes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. On to item number I, city reports. If you could, Councilmember Marquez, you could do RTA and RTA.
Okay, thank you, Madam Pro Tem. Let's start off with RCA, Marina Valley's MSHCP for the month of up to May. $191 for residential permits. That shows that we are building homes in Marina Valley, and a half an acre of commercial industrial for the month of March, excuse me. That concludes my report on RCA. RTA, the agency has received a grant from the Air Quality Control Center, and they're going to use that for the youth and college students. They'd be able to ride for free. With that grant, it wouldn't have been possible. To ride, students are participating in college use for free mobile ticketing, and youth up to 18 and under needs to show an ID in order to not pay fees. Once aboard, you can ride anywhere RTA has, fixed routes, anytime, so it's all free. And with that, if you have any more questions or concerns, you can go to riversidetransit.com and you get some more information on that. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to present for the Mark Joint Powers Authority. On the commission meeting that was held on April 28th, the commission approved an MOU for the development of the Paris Valley Lateral V flood control channel. We selected a firm to recruit an executive director. Dr. Kelly retires in June. We also authorized grant applications for airport master planning and pavement maintenance. Finally, we approved this year's legislative agenda. And that concludes my report on the last March Joint Powers Commission meeting. I'm also reporting on the Western Riverside Council of Governments Executive Committee meeting that was held on May 3rd. WRCOG has adopted a resolution recognizing May as Conservation Appreciation Month in honor of the Riverside County Habitat Conservation Agency, RCHCA 25th anniversary. WRCOG is celebrating the ambitious environmental efforts to provide a pathway balancing wildlife conservation, protection of threatened and endangered species, and the ecosystem, all while streamlining processes to support economic development within Riverside County. And that concludes my report. Okay. City Manager's report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, member of the City Council. Just one item tonight. I'm going to make my public service announcement for our Community Day of Service. This is coming up this Saturday. It'll be in front of the City Hall. Please do sign up. Come meet your neighbors. Come meet some of the other organizations that have participated. We're going to have coffee and refreshments in the morning. It starts at 8 o'clock. It'll conclude at 12 o'clock. So please do come out and help us clean up the city. Thank you so much. This concludes my presentation for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager Mike Lee. Next is Councilmember Marquez. Any comments?
Yes, I do, Madam Pro Tem. I got several, gotta catch up. I want to start off with a shout out to our staff. You know that this past year has been, it's played us pretty well, the whole city nationwide. But, you know, I gotta reach out to our staff and Mike Wolf, Patty, Manuel, Steve, Bryant, Mike, especially Mike Lee. Mike Lee is incredible. He's done so much for this city. Just an extra shout out to Mike Lee, to Pat, City Clerk, our safety people, Captain Salisbury, Chief Armand, and if I miss anybody else, you're still in there. But I wanted to shout out to the staff. You have kept us together. It looks like we'll be able to kind of spread our wings a little more as we go on and this summer. And I'll tell you why I think we're going to be okay. July 4th celebration, we're looking at a new location, amphitheater. We're going to be able to use that amphitheater and have the residents of Marine Valley come out and enjoy it. Enjoy that 4th of July that we desperately need for our residents of Marina Valley. The freeway cleanups. People have been asking me, well, when are we going to clean up our freeways? Well, myself, Councilman Cabrera, Mike Lee, Mike Wolf, Assembly Medina, we've been working with Caltrans and we've been having Zoom meetings with them to clean up these freeways. It might not look like any progress, but believe me, you know, it's all red tape and we are working on this. We've had several meetings and I foresee a lot more meetings also. So just be patient. We'll clean up our freeways and we don't have to worry about people driving through and saying, oh, this is what Moreno Valley looks like, because it doesn't. We are working on it and we just ask for your patience. Illegal dumping in the city. We've got signs up. I asked the residents, if you see something, say something, take a picture of what's out there, what you see. But most importantly, take video of them actually dumping, and their faces. And also the vehicles, the license plates are fine. We need to put a stop to this, especially in the east end of town. It seems like that the illegal dumpers are coming into the city and dumping within the city. And that shows us that, hey, they're getting more desperate. They want to come in the city. Well, we're going to do the same thing. If you see something in the city, please take a picture, call PD, call our code. We want to catch these people. And we'll make an example of them too through our social media page. Just touch very quick on these overpass from Marina Beach. Had a lot of complaints about our Redlands eucalyptus turnabouts. You know, that's the first of our city, probably first in the region, if I'm not mistaken. But you know what? This is going to be a good idea for traffic, continuous traffic flow without being any bottlenecks there. So, you know, we've endured this for a couple of months. It's going to be a plus for the east end of town or our warehouses. But stop and think about it. Once this is done, and we start on Marina Beach Drive, this is the city moving forward. And I'm asking everybody be patient, not only with us, but with the city and the contractors out there, be very, very aware when you're driving in those construction zones. I can't express how concerned I am on these safeties, not only with the city employees, but our contractors out there. So please slow down, pay attention what you're doing out there, and we'll get through this summer and next summer, and we'll have a beautiful overpass like we did with Nason. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. That's all I have.
Let me unmute myself. Councilman Cabrera.
Thank you so much. Good evening. Buenas tardes once again. I will reiterate and touche to Councilman Marquez's comments. Thank you to our staff. I mean, you've been the heart, the brain, the lungs of the organization, the city, the local government, and because of everyone there, we've been able to get through the pandemic, and we came out with a balanced budget again, and we are on track to come out of this pandemic / economic recession, stronger than before. So I don't think a lot of local governments can say that, but because we have folks like, I don't want to go down the entire list, but because we have everyone that we have currently at City Hall, the entire E-team all the way down, every single one of you has gotten us through this and has gotten us here to where we are today. So, keep on bringing those awards, keep on getting us all those funding from the federal government, all those grants, keep doing exactly what you're doing. And I know that, we'll keep getting recognized far and beyond here, the state of California. So, tomorrow, Cinco de Mayo, a happy Cinco de Mayo to everyone. Please, be safe. And just a quick crash course, Cinco de Mayo is a celebration of the Mexican Army's victory over French, basically occupation there in Mexico. So just wanted to make a quick plug there. The Burke rededication ceremony that happened last Friday, I want to give another shout out to Dr. Angela Farouk, Jamil Dada, Mike Lee, everyone who's involved, Jackie Melendez, everyone there in economic development for making that happen. Again, this just goes with everything that I just said a minute ago, of all the amazing things that our team is doing at City Hall. That was excellent, and there's a lot of new things that are going to come out of that as well. Also, last Friday, TODEC had a vaccination site in cooperation and collaboration with Governor Newsom's office right here in Moreno Valley at Centro Cristiano Sinai over close to Sunnymead Boulevard off of Heacock. So they administered, I think it was around 400 up to 500 vaccines here in the community. So I just want to give a huge thank you to the governor's office, also TODEC, and our local clergy here in the city for putting that together. Also, that same day, right before the Burke rededication, I was out in front of Community Park and Moreno Valley High School with the Edgemont Women's Club cleaning up Cottonwood. So we spent about 45 minutes out there cleaning up and down Cottonwood, and fortunately I was able to get to the Burke on time. So that happened on Friday. Again, this Saturday, the Community Day of Service, we really hope to see you out there. We hope to get as many volunteers as possible to help us clean up the trash, help us clean up the litter and the debris that's around the city. We're trying to beautify it, trying to take more pride. And it's like, this is our house, this is our home, right? I mean, when you invite someone over to your home, you want it to be clean, you want it to be nice, you want it to be presentable. I don't think any of us likes to invite people over and we have trash and clutter all over the house. We want it to be in order. Same thing goes for our city. We want our city to be in order. We want it to be appealing and presentable. So come out, join us on Saturday. We're gonna have some Raising Canes. We're gonna have some other things there. So really hope to see you on Saturday. Next Thursday, I believe it's next Thursday, Vista del Lago is going to have their graduation ceremony. So happy that we're at a point where we can have kind of hybrid graduations because these high school seniors desperately need it. You know, I was not able to have my university graduation, but I'm very glad that our local high school seniors are going to get to celebrate together for their graduation. So I'll be over at Vista del Lago High School next Thursday to congratulate, I think it's about 450 or so graduates that are going to go off to bigger and better things and going to lead us into the next generation of our world. So excited for them. Also, I can't share my screen, but I do have a flyer here for the town hall here happening in District 4. This is going to take place on May 26th at 6 p.m. at the LaSalle Sports Park. So I hope you'll come out and join us. The flyer's on social media if you want to find more information there. But you know, please wear your mask, follow the COVID-19 guidelines, and you know, come out and have a productive conversation about the present and the future of our city. Other than that, I think we're moving in the right direction. Again, just today, I believe LA County moved into the yellow tier, which is less restrictive. So we're still on course, you know, for the reopening in June, a full reopening for the state of California. So, you know, definitely looking forward to that. We're almost there, almost at the end of this pandemic. So just hang on there with us a little bit more, and definitely look forward to seeing you at the next meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman Cabrera and Councilman Marquez. Our cost-saving measures and being fiscally responsible, we have approved another balanced budget. While there were increases to our public safety costs in the amount of $4 million, we continue to support our police and fire to make sure they have the staffing and resources that they need. In addition, we heard from the residents that street paving is a priority. This year, we were able to allocate another $1.6 million for street paving. And kudos go out to our staff and the wonderful job they do by being fiscally conservative and fiscally responsible with the taxpayers' money, because that's what the city council does, is that we get the revenue and we spend it for you in the way that we see fit. And that is by hearing what you have to say. And we hear loud and clear that our, you know, the potholes and the streets are in disrepair. So we have more money being allocated to that because of the cost savings that our staff is able to ensure that is there, and that we're not wasting money foolishly, but being very careful for our citizens, for our residents, that are our taxpayers, and make sure that the money is going for projects that will improve the life of everyone in the city of Moreno Valley. Next, I'm really excited to announce that we are having our 4th of July parade and celebration. So please come out to City Hall. That's where we'll be. And we'll have our bands at the amphitheater, and we'll have a big celebration, and it's going to be fun. And I'm sure that there's going to be other events around the city as well. But I just want to say to everybody, fireworks are not legal. And it's already beginning. I'm startled at night by what sounds like bombs, but I guess they're fireworks, firecrackers. And the animals, you know, they're petrified with all these noises because they don't know, they don't understand what's going on. So please keep the fireworks at the amphitheater. Come and enjoy them with your family. Bring everybody. We're gonna have the 4th of July parade, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a very good. It's my favorite holiday because nobody has to bring presents. All we do is celebrate the freedoms that we have in this great nation. So I look forward to seeing everybody at the 4th of July parade, and keep working to keep this community safe and sound for all the residents that live here. I know that we recently approved increasing the fines for those that violate the firecracker and fireworks ordinances. So I'll be ready to pay big fines if you get caught. Okay, so that concludes our council meeting, and we're adjourned, and it is 7:02. Good night, and thank you.